Listen up, Eagles Nation. The countdown is officially on, and the battle for our final roster spots is absolutely heating up. With 90 players fighting for survival, every single snap at training camp is a high-stakes audition. Today, we're kicking off our exclusive series ranking every player from 90 down to 1, and you won't believe who is starting us off at the very bottom of the pack. Does this new wide receiver have what it takes to survive the cut, or is he just a camp body? Smash that like button, subscribe, and drop a comment below before we dive in. Samori Toure stands at the very beginning of a critical evaluation process as the Eagles officially rank their entire 90-man roster. Holding the number 90 spot, Toure is currently facing the reality of a league where roster spots are at a premium. With 90 players fighting for 70 total available positions, covering both the active 53-man roster and the 17-man practice squad, the pressure is constant. This ranking series, conducted by Eagles on SI, uses a combination of depth chart positioning, individual talent, and overall roster probability to determine where players sit heading into the heat of training camp. For Samori Toure, this journey is not just about competing for a spot with the Eagles, but also about proving his professional value to the other 31 organizations in the NFL. Being labeled number 90 signifies the steep climb required to secure a position in a locker room that is constantly in flux. The team is currently utilizing the full 90-man roster capacity, though they maintain the flexibility to carry up to 91 players via the International Player Exemption rule. As the organization prepares for the upcoming season, every rep during the summer months becomes a defining moment for players on the bubble. Toure finds himself squarely in that spotlight, tasked with demonstrating that he belongs in the league after stops across multiple franchises. His current status is a reflection of the intense competition surrounding the wide receiver room, where every single catch is being documented and scrutinized. As we begin this countdown from number 90 all the way to number 1, Samori Toure represents the starting point of a summer where individual performances will dictate the final makeup of the roster. The objective is clear: show the staff that he deserves one of those limited spots or risk the end of the line. The path that brought Samori Toure to this specific moment with the Eagles is defined by a consistent effort to stay in the professional ranks since his selection in the 2022 NFL Draft. Originally picked in the 7th round by the Green Bay Packers with the 258th overall selection, Toure has navigated a challenging career path. Hailing from Portland, Oregon, he rose from being an unranked prospect coming out of Westview High School to becoming a highly decorated wide receiver during his time at the University of Montana. His college career was marked by significant production, including an impressive junior season where he recorded 87 receptions for 1,495 yards and 13 touchdowns. His tenure in Montana concluded with 2,488 career yards and school records for both single-game receiving yards and receptions. Following the cancellation of the 2020 season due to the pandemic, he transferred to the University of Nebraska, where he continued to demonstrate his abilities. He led the Cornhuskers with 46 catches for 898 yards and 5 touchdowns, tying a school record with 5 100-yard receiving games and leading the Big Ten in yards per catch. These collegiate achievements laid the groundwork for his entry into the NFL, but his professional journey has been a test of persistence. Since leaving Green Bay after 2 seasons, he has spent time with the Chicago Bears and Denver Broncos practice squads. During the 2025 season, he was part of the New Orleans Saints, where he appeared in a single game and recorded 1 catch for 3 yards before being released in April. Now having signed with the Eagles this past June, Toure is tasked with leveraging his past experiences to secure a role within the team's depth chart, hoping that his history of production can translate into an opportunity in Philadelphia. Why does this matter right now for the Eagles? The wide receiver room is currently a hub of intense competition, and Samori Toure's presence highlights the depth the organization is trying to establish. With training camp on the horizon, the team is evaluating every available option to see who can provide reliable production in a crowded position group. Toure is currently locked in a battle for roster spots alongside players like Elijah Moore, Darius Cooper, Britton Covey, Quez Watkins, and Danny Gray. Each of these players is competing for the same limited spots on the final roster or the practice squad, making every practice rep critical. The current reality for Toure is that he is rotating with the 3rd team, which underscores his position as a long shot to make the active 53-man roster. The The organization's goal is to ensure that the players who survive the final cuts are the ones most capable of contributing when it counts. For a player like Toure, the margin for error is non-existent. The specific challenge facing him involves his limited track record in special teams, particularly in the return game, where he has only one career punt return. To improve his standing and prove his worth to the coaching staff, Toure must demonstrate an ability to consistently catch the ball and contribute in areas beyond his primary role as a receiver. The competition level is high, and the expectation is that players at this stage of the roster must show immediate versatility to survive the upcoming cuts. If Toure can successfully navigate this environment and secure a spot on the practice squad, it would represent a significant win for him in his quest to remain a part of the league. Fly Eagles Fly. The evaluation of Samori Toure involves a clear assessment of where he fits within the current depth chart structure. As a player currently fighting for a place on the team, his metrics and performance history are being compared against other receivers who are also looking to solidify their roles. The coaching staff is looking for players who can perform under pressure, and Toure's struggle to find a permanent home in the NFL is a factor in his current standing. Since his release from the New Orleans Saints in April, his signing with the Eagles provides him with a clean slate to showcase his skills during the summer. However, the depth chart is not static, and the competition he faces is fierce. Players like Quez Watkins and Danny Gray bring their own sets of skills to the table, creating a scenario where every player must prove their individual talent relative to their position. Toure's history of playing for 3 different teams in the past few years suggests a player who is well acquainted with the difficulty of surviving cutdown days. For the Eagles, the priority is building the most competitive group possible, and this requires an objective look at every individual on the roster. Toure's current situation is a testament to the volatility of the league, where even players with decorated college careers must constantly reprove themselves. Whether he can climb from his current position as a third-team receiver depends entirely on his ability to stand out during the upcoming training camp practices. The focus remains on his ability to catch the ball consistently, as that is the primary requirement for any wide receiver looking to climb the ranks and move out of the number 90 spot on the team's current depth chart projections. Looking ahead, the road for Samori Toure remains difficult but clear in its requirements. As the Eagles progress through their summer schedule, the roster will continue to be refined, and the current rankings will shift based on performance. The number 90 position is essentially the starting point of a long ladder that players must climb if they intend to survive the final roster decisions. For Toure, the goal is to shift the narrative from being a roster long shot to a player who has made a compelling case for inclusion. The competition involving Elijah Moore, Darius Cooper, Britton Covey, Quez Watkins, and Danny Gray is just one aspect of the larger roster battle occurring across every position group. Each of these players understands that the summer is the time to stake a claim for a roster spot, and Toure is no exception to this rule. The Eagles on SI evaluation serves as a mirror for the organization's current thinking, highlighting where players stand at this specific moment in the year. While the practice squad remains a potential destination and a positive outcome for a player in his current position, the ultimate goal for any professional athlete is to earn a spot on the 53-man roster. Toure's journey from Montana to Nebraska, and eventually to the NFL, has been defined by his ability to compete in various environments. Now he must apply that same resilience to the situation in Philadelphia. As the team moves toward the final evaluation phase, Toure will have to maximize every opportunity to show that he can be a reliable target. The final roster is not yet set, and while the current depth chart places him at number 90, the weeks ahead will determine if he can improve his standing within the organization before the real games begin.